Imagine waking up one morning, taking just a few steps toward your kitchen and suddenly realizing your legs no longer respond the way they once did. You feel the wobble, the weakness, the fear of losing your balance. In a blink, you stumble over a rug, crash to the ground, and everything changes. For thousands of older adults, every single day, that moment, an unexpected fall, marks the beginning of a chain of events that can take away independence, mobility, and even life itself. Falls are not just accidents. They are the most common reason seniors lose their freedom, move into care homes, and become dependent on their children. And most of those falls begin with one silent enemy: the gradual loss of leg strength. If you're over 60, you've probably noticed changes. Climbing stairs feels harder. Standing up from a chair requires more effort. Carrying groceries leaves you more tired than before. You may not always call it by name, but what you're experiencing is the slow erosion of muscle tissue, a condition doctors call sarcopenia. It is the hidden thief of strength, stealing little by little until simple daily tasks become dangerous challenges. Sarcopenia is driven by many forces working together: natural hormonal changes, slower circulation, chronic low-level inflammation, and the fact that most people become less physically active with age. Each factor by itself might not seem like much, but together they create a storm inside the body that weakens muscle fibers, stiffens joints, and slows blood flow, especially to the legs. The outcome? Heavy, tired legs, less balance, and a higher risk of falling. At this point, it is important to know who is guiding you. Dr. Martín is a physician with over 30 years of experience in geriatric medicine, specialized in age-related muscle decline, circulation problems, and nutrition-based recovery. He has dedicated his career to helping older adults regain independence and strength through natural, evidence-based methods that combine science with everyday habits. I remember one of my patients, John Morales, a 72-year-old retired carpenter. For most of his life, John was strong, always on his feet, building homes and working with heavy tools. His arms and legs were once his pride, the tools that allowed him to provide for his family. But after retirement, his activity slowed. The long days of lifting and climbing ladders were replaced with hours sitting at home. One afternoon, while walking to the mailbox, his legs gave out. He tripped, fell, and fractured his hip. For months afterward, John's greatest fear wasn't the pain, but the loss of confidence. He told me, "Doctor, I don't feel safe walking across my own living room anymore." That sentence carried more weight than his injury itself. It was the fear of losing independence. When we started addressing his diet, circulation, and muscle recovery together, not in isolation, he began to notice change. At first, he could only take a few careful steps with his cane. But as we worked on improving his blood flow and giving his muscles the fuel they had been starving for, week by week, his legs grew steadier, his steps more secure. What once seemed like the end of independence became the beginning of a new chapter. John now walks daily in his neighborhood, slowly but with pride. He still carries the memory of that fall, but now he also carries the confidence of recovery. Another story comes to mind. Elena Park, a 68-year-old retired teacher. For years, she loved climbing the stairs to her small library at home, where she kept shelves filled with the books she had collected throughout her career. But as the years went by, each step grew heavier. She avoided the stairs, avoided long walks, and eventually stopped going out to the park where she used to meet friends. Elena wasn't suffering from laziness. She was caught in the vicious cycle of muscle loss. Weak legs made her move less. Moving less made her legs weaker. She was caught in a downward spiral. The turning point came when she realized that recovery didn't have to start in the gym or the pharmacy. It could begin in her kitchen, at her breakfast table. By making specific, targeted changes in her morning meals, Elena not only restored energy, but regained her joy of movement. Today, she says the stairs no longer scare her. She climbs them slowly but confidently, and most importantly, she feels like herself again. She even told me, "Doctor, I feel like I've been given a second chance to keep living on my own terms." What is happening inside the body to make these stories so common? As we age, muscle tissue naturally breaks down. This process is accelerated by reduced physical activity, hormonal decline, inflammation that lingers in the joints and vessels, and circulation that no longer delivers oxygen and nutrients as efficiently. Scientists describe it as anabolic resistance. In simple terms, it means the body no longer uses protein and nutrients as effectively as it did at a younger age. Even if you eat enough, the muscles don't rebuild at the same speed. Add poor blood flow, and the nutrients you consume don't reach the legs in the amounts required. The result is weakness, stiffness, and loss of balance. The mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside your muscle cells, also slow down with age. They produce less energy, making your muscles tire more quickly. Combine this with reduced nerve signals from the brain to the muscles, and the message to stand strong doesn't reach the legs with the same intensity. This is why many older adults describe their legs as not listening or not responding the way they used to. It isn't just in your mind, it is biology, and it is preventable. But here is the most important message. But now we know that sarcopenia is not inevitable. Yes, it is common, but with the right strategies, it can be slowed, stopped, and even reversed. This is not just theory. It is the lived reality of many older adults who have committed to small, consistent changes. And one of the simplest, most overlooked strategies lies in what you eat first thing in the morning. I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, have you noticed that getting up from a chair feels harder than it used to? Do you sometimes feel insecure walking up the stairs or stepping off a curb? Do you know someone around your age who has already suffered a fall or fracture? Have you caught yourself thinking twice before carrying a laundry basket, or hesitating before going for a walk in case your legs give out? These are not just passing concerns, they are warning signs. If your legs feel heavy, if your energy fades too quickly, your body is telling you it needs support. And here is where hope comes in. The body never stops adapting. Even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond, your muscles respond to what you give them. The right foods at the right times can spark circulation, reduce inflammation, and feed the muscle fibers that keep you strong. It doesn't require exotic supplements, complicated routines, or exhausting workouts. It requires consistency with simple, natural choices that are already within your reach. Ahmed Rodriguez, a 75-year-old retired bus driver, once told me he thought weakness was simply the price of getting old. He had stopped walking around his neighborhood, spent more time sitting, and resigned himself to feeling tired. But when we introduced small adjustments to his daily meals, especially breakfast, Ahmed felt the difference within weeks. His legs didn't ache as much, his walks lasted longer, and his outlook on life changed. What he once believed was unavoidable decline became a path of recovery. Now let me make something clear. Strength does not fade overnight, and it does not return overnight. It fades gradually, almost silently, but in the same way, it can return gradually through steady daily habits. This is why breakfast matters so much, because it is your first opportunity each day to give your muscles what they need: circulation boosters, anti-inflammatory compounds, and the protein to rebuild. If you are watching this and you are over 55, I want you to listen carefully. What I am about to share with you could make the difference between losing strength or regaining it. Stay with me until the end of this journey, because I will show you why breakfast can be your best ally against muscle loss. And if you care about staying independent, walking with confidence, and keeping your energy, make sure you stay connected with Senior Thrive, where we share science-backed ways to age strong. I know some of you may be wondering, does what I eat in the morning really influence my energy, my legs, my balance? The answer is yes. Food is not just fuel. For older adults, it is information. Every bite tells your body what to do, whether to inflame or to heal, whether to weaken or to strengthen. Breakfast is not just filling your stomach. It can be nature's own therapy if you choose the right foods. So let me ask you one final question. Would you like to discover simple, everyday breakfasts, foods you already know, that can help restore strength to your legs, protect your mobility, and keep you walking with confidence? If so, then stay with me, because in the next section we'll uncover exactly which foods make the difference, why they work, and how you can begin tomorrow morning. The road to stronger legs and better energy is not far away. It starts with your next breakfast. What if the single most important medicine for your muscles is not found in a pill bottle, but already sitting in your kitchen each morning? For most people over 60, the answer is hiding in plain sight. The food you choose at the very beginning of your day does more than fill your stomach. It decides whether your muscles repair or decline, whether your steps feel light or heavy, and whether your independence stays protected or begins to slip away. Breakfast is not just a routine, it is the body's first and best opportunity to fight back against muscle loss and poor circulation. In Block 1, we explored the urgency of leg strength, the danger of sarcopenia, and the stories of those who discovered too late how serious it can become. Now let us look at the solution, because timing is everything. After a night of sleep, your body wakes in a state of repair. Muscles are like a construction site waiting for materials. During the night, builders were working, but the supplies were running out. The very first nutrients you put into your body in the morning decide if construction continues or shuts down. If you eat the right breakfast, workers get the bricks and cement to keep building. If you eat the wrong one, or skip it entirely, the site closes, leaving muscles weaker, joints stiffer, and energy lower. Think about this. Your body has just gone 8 to 10 hours without food. That is the longest fasting period of the day. When you wake, your blood sugar is low, your muscle fibers are craving amino acids, and your brain is searching for steady energy. Miss this chance, and your body pulls from its reserves, often breaking down more muscle just to keep basic functions running. This is why the first meal is so critical. It is the moment when you can either feed decline or feed resilience. Proteins play a starring role in this process. They provide amino acids, the raw building blocks that muscles must have in order to grow or repair. Among them, one in particular, leucine, acts as the switch that tells muscle cells to start building again. Without leucine, your muscles receive no signal, and the repair never begins. Foods like eggs, Greek yogurt, and legumes are rich in leucine, and when eaten early, they wake the muscle machinery from its overnight pause. Scientists call this overcoming anabolic resistance, the age-related slowdown in the body's ability to respond to protein. Seniors need more protein, not less, to trigger the same growth that young people achieve naturally. I remember a patient, Clara Hernandez, a retired librarian of 70. She came into my clinic feeling frustrated that no matter how carefully she ate at lunch or dinner, her strength was slipping. She skipped breakfast most days, thinking she was cutting calories. Instead, her muscles were starving each morning. When she began starting her day with 2 boiled eggs, a slice of whole grain toast, and a side of beans, within weeks she noticed she could climb stairs with more ease. Her body was finally receiving the morning signal to rebuild. Clara's story is not unique. It is a powerful reminder that the right protein in the morning is not indulgence, it is therapy. But protein alone does not solve the problem. Muscles are like engines. They need fuel and oxygen to use those amino acids effectively. That is where circulation boosters come in. As we age, blood vessels stiffen and narrow. The legs, being the farthest from the heart, often suffer most. Poor circulation means that even if you eat enough protein, it does not reach the muscles in time. Berries, especially blueberries, blackberries, and cherries, contain flavonoids that relax the vessel walls and improve flexibility. They increase nitric oxide, a molecule that widens blood flow channels, delivering oxygen and nutrients directly where they are needed. Imagine pouring water through a stiff, clogged pipe. It barely moves. Now picture that pipe widened, flexible, smooth inside. That is what flavonoids do to your blood vessels. Let me ask you directly, what do you usually eat for breakfast right now? Have you noticed how different foods leave you either heavy and tired, or light and energized? Do you think you might be missing that critical morning window to feed your muscles? I once worked with Samuel Kim, a 69-year-old former taxi driver. He lived most of his life on quick coffees and white bread pastries for breakfast. By the time he retired, his legs cramped constantly during walks, and his doctor warned him of early vascular disease. When he replaced his morning pastry with a bowl of Greek yogurt, topped with blueberries, chia seeds, and a sprinkle of walnuts, the difference was dramatic. Within a month, he described his walks as lighter, and said his calves no longer screamed at him halfway through. The combination of protein and flavonoids restored circulation and energy at the very time his body needed them most. Inflammation is another silent thief of strength. Chronic low-level inflammation is like a fire smoldering inside the body. It makes joints stiff, muscles sore, and recovery painfully slow. Foods like ginger, turmeric, and cinnamon contain compounds that extinguish that fire. Their antioxidants block free radicals, reduce swelling, and soothe tissues. Think of it as calming down an overexcited immune system that is mistakenly attacking its own home. Clara, the librarian, not only benefited from eggs, but also from sprinkling cinnamon into her morning coffee. She used to complain of aching knees when she shelved books, even after retirement, when she volunteered part-time. After adding cinnamon and ginger tea to her mornings, she told me she could stand longer without discomfort. It was not magic. It was food science working quietly each day. And here is another question for you. Would you be willing to replace just one processed food in your breakfast with a natural option if it meant more strength? For many, the answer is yes, but they simply never realized how much power that single swap carries. Healthy fats also deserve a place on the morning table. MCT oil, found in coconut, or the fats in nuts and avocados, are easily converted by the liver into quick, clean energy. Unlike sugary pastries that spike and crash your blood sugar, MCTs provide steady fuel for both brain and muscles. They also help absorb fat-soluble vitamins like D and E, both essential for bone strength and muscle function. Samuel, the taxi driver, learned to blend a spoonful of MCT oil into his morning coffee. He was skeptical at first, worried it would make his stomach heavy. Instead, he reported feeling fuller for longer and energized well past his usual mid-morning slump. Another patient, Rosa Delgado, a retired nurse of 66, began spreading avocado on her toast instead of butter. She noticed not only better energy but also smoother digestion and less bloating. These small, ordinary foods changed how her body used the nutrients she already ate. What about you? Which of these foods, eggs, berries, ginger, or MCT oil, do you already have at home? Which could you start with tomorrow? Sometimes the biggest change comes not from adding new exotic foods, but from rediscovering the healing power of what is already within reach. If you're finding this helpful, don't forget to stay with Senior Thrive. We're just getting started. Make sure you watch until the end, because the combinations I'll share could change your mornings forever. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Senior Thrive so you don't miss the daily habits that protect your strength. When we step back and see the big picture, breakfast becomes more than a meal. It becomes a therapy session for the entire body. Protein triggers the building, flavonoids open the highways of blood flow, spices calm the fires of inflammation, and healthy fats fuel the engines without clogging them. Each element plays its role, but together they form a symphony of repair and resilience. The secret is consistency. Eating eggs once or a handful of berries twice a month will not change much, but choosing them daily, making them part of your morning identity, shifts the body's trajectory. Over weeks and months, the tissues respond, muscles stabilize, and energy returns. It is the difference between a leaky roof patched once and a roof maintained regularly to stay strong against every storm. Aging is not simply about decline, it is about adaptation. Your body is still listening to what you feed it. Even in your 70s or 80s, the morning meal can tell your muscles, rebuild, stay strong, protect balance. Every breakfast becomes a vote for independence or for dependence. And the good news is, you get to cast that vote every single day. So let me ask again, which of these simple breakfasts will you choose tomorrow morning? Will you start with eggs and beans to turn on your muscle machinery? Will you grab a bowl of blueberries and yogurt to open your circulation? Or will you blend MCT oil into your coffee for steady energy? The choice is yours, but the outcome is profound. Breakfast, when understood correctly, is not about dieting or restriction. It is not about exotic superfoods or expensive supplements, but about real, everyday foods prepared with purpose. And as we move into Block 3, we will see how to weave these pieces together into a daily plan. A simple, sustainable routine that supports your legs, your energy, and your independence for years to come. Because the truth is, what you put on your plate each morning is not just food, it is medicine, therapy, and strength disguised as breakfast. And tomorrow morning, your body will be waiting once again for you to decide.
Strength doesn't return overnight, especially after decades of gradual muscle loss and reduced circulation. But over time, the body responds remarkably well to consistent, targeted habits. By combining the breakfast we've explored, beetroot, blueberries, and salmon, with micro habits, gentle resistance exercises, and careful attention to sleep and recovery, seniors can rebuild leg strength, improve energy, and protect mobility in a sustainable way. Let's explore how to put these pieces together in a practical daily routine designed for lasting results. First, microhabits create the foundation for long-term strength. These are small, simple actions that, when repeated consistently, compound into meaningful improvements. For example, standing up from a chair slowly and deliberately 10 times each morning, or walking a few extra steps after every meal may seem minor, but these movements stimulate muscle fibers, enhance circulation, and improve balance. Over time, the cumulative effect of such microhabits can dramatically reduce the risk of falls and the sense of fatigue that many seniors experience. Another microhabit is a short, intentional stretching routine focused on the legs. Spending just 5 minutes each morning stretching calves, hamstrings, and quadriceps improves flexibility and blood flow. Even adding deep breathing while stretching can increase oxygen delivery to muscles, helping to energize the body for the day ahead. Microhabits also extend to nutrition. Pairing each breakfast with a glass of water or a squeeze of lemon not only aids digestion but also helps preserve the nitric oxide and antioxidants we discussed earlier. These small, consistent choices ensure that every day contributes to rebuilding strength and energy. Rotation of breakfasts across the week reinforces both nutrient variety and habit formation. A senior might begin the week with the beetroot breakfast, focusing on circulation and reduced inflammation. Midweek, the blueberry and Greek yogurt breakfast delivers antioxidants, energy metabolism support, and vascular health benefits. Salmon breakfast days emphasize anti-inflammatory omega-3s, protein for muscle repair, and nutrients for better sleep. By rotating these meals consistently, the body receives a steady supply of compounds that support muscle recovery, circulation, and overall vitality. It also prevents monotony, making it more likely that these breakfasts become ingrained habits rather than occasional meals. Over several weeks, patients often notice that their legs feel lighter, steps steadier, and endurance gradually increasing without forcing major lifestyle overhauls. To illustrate the impact of these habits, let's consider fictional patients. Maria Lopez, 71, a retired nurse, began integrating the 3 breakfasts into her week, while adding 5 minutes of stretching and short walks after meals. Within 2 weeks, she reported waking up with less stiffness in her legs and feeling more confident walking to her mailbox and around her neighborhood. John Morales, 72, a retired carpenter, combined the same breakfast rotation with slow chair squats and calf raises. Initially, he could barely perform 5 repetitions without fatigue, but after 4 weeks, he was completing 20 repetitions comfortably and noticed fewer cramps in his legs. Elena Park, 68, a retired teacher, focused on consistency with morning walks, pairing them with blueberry parfaits and beetroot juice. She described her energy levels increasing steadily and a renewed motivation to participate in community activities that she had been avoiding due to weakness. These stories highlight how small, consistent actions, combined with targeted nutrition, can create noticeable improvements in strength, balance, and daily independence. Resistance exercises remain a crucial component of the 30-day plan. Even minimal resistance training strengthens muscle fibers, supports joint health, and enhances circulation. Seniors can start with bodyweight exercises, seated leg lifts, wall sits, and gentle squats. Using resistance bands adds progressive challenge without risk of injury. For those with limited mobility, chair-assisted exercises, such as seated knee extensions or seated marches, still activate muscles in the thighs, calves, and glutes. The key is consistent engagement rather than intensity. 5 to 10 minutes daily, integrated into morning or mid-afternoon routines, is sufficient to stimulate significant physiological benefits. When paired with nutrient-rich breakfasts, these exercises allow muscles to utilize proteins and anti-inflammatory compounds efficiently, accelerating recovery and building strength over time. Sleep optimization plays a supporting but equally critical role in rebuilding leg strength. Muscles repair and grow during deep sleep phases, guided by the release of growth hormone. Nutrients from salmon, such as B vitamins and tryptophan, contribute to melatonin and serotonin production, promoting restful sleep. Seniors who improve both sleep quality and duration often notice reduced fatigue, better energy utilization, and quicker recovery after physical activity. Creating a consistent bedtime routine, limiting caffeine late in the day, and ensuring a comfortable sleep environment all reinforce the benefits of nutrition and exercise, making strength gains more sustainable. Even a small increase in nightly deep sleep can magnify the impact of daily breakfasts and micro-habits, enhancing both leg strength and overall vitality. Integrating journaling or progress tracking into this 30-day plan further reinforces commitment and motivation. By noting energy levels, leg strength, mood, and sleep quality each day, seniors gain tangible feedback on their improvements. This practice encourages accountability and helps identify which breakfasts or micro-habits provide the most noticeable benefits. It also allows adjustments to the plan to suit individual needs, such as adding more resistance repetitions on days when energy is high, or scheduling an extra short walk after meals. Over time, tracking progress reinforces the perception of mastery, boosting confidence and the likelihood of maintaining these habits long-term. The 30-day structure itself is designed for gradual progression. Week 1 focuses on habit formation, introducing breakfasts, short walks, and micro-stretches. Week 2 increases repetitions of resistance exercises and encourages rotating breakfasts more intentionally. Week 3 emphasizes integration, linking meals with physical activity and prioritizing sleep routines. By week 4, participants often experience measurable improvements. Legs feel stronger, steps are steadier, energy is higher, and confidence in performing daily activities has grown. This incremental approach ensures that strength and mobility gains are sustainable, rather than temporary bursts that fade once the plan ends. Consistency is the most important element. While beetroot, blueberries, and salmon are powerful individually, their cumulative benefits are realized only when integrated daily into a structured routine. Aging doesn't pause, but neither does the body's ability to adapt. Small, consistent improvements in circulation, muscle activation, and sleep accumulate into meaningful changes that restore both independence and vitality. Over weeks and months, seniors notice that standing up, climbing stairs, or walking to a nearby park requires less effort. The risk of falls decreases, and the sense of autonomy returns. What initially seems like small nutritional or exercise adjustments ultimately reestablishes the confidence to move freely and safely throughout daily life. Adding variety and enjoyment to these routines reinforces long-term adherence. Experimenting with different beetroot and avocado preparations, alternating Greek yogurt with blueberries and nuts, or trying salmon with spinach, eggs, or whole grain toast keeps meals appealing. Physical activity can also include playful elements. Short dance sessions, gardening, or interactive group walks provide cardiovascular and muscular engagement while making movement enjoyable. Incorporating social elements, whether sharing meals or exercising with friends, further strengthens motivation and consistency. These enjoyable aspects transform what might otherwise feel like a restrictive regimen into a lifestyle that seniors look forward to each day. As the month progresses, the combination of consistent breakfasts, micro-habits, and resistance exercises creates a positive feedback loop. Increased energy encourages more movement, which in turn stimulates circulation and reinforces muscle strength. Improved sleep enhances recovery, making daily tasks easier. Confidence grows with each week, reducing anxiety about balance or falls. By the end of 30 days, seniors often report tangible changes: lighter legs, steadier steps, improved stamina, and a renewed sense of independence. The transformation may not be dramatic overnight, but the cumulative effect is significant and sustainable. Now, as we approach the final strong call to action, remember that these strategies are not temporary fixes. They are lifestyle changes designed for long-term independence. You now have the tools to rebuild leg strength, improve circulation, enhance energy, and protect your mobility. Integrating consistent breakfasts, micro habits, resistance exercises, and sleep optimization into daily life sets the stage for enduring health and confidence. The small steps you take each day compound into real, visible improvements that keep you active and independent well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. If you're ready to reclaim your mobility and leg strength, subscribe to Senior Thrive, download the 30-day meal and exercise plan from the description and pinned comment, and start implementing these habits today. The consistency you build now becomes the foundation for lifelong vitality. Each small choice, preparing a beetroot breakfast, enjoying a blueberry parfait, adding salmon to your morning routine, or performing a brief set of resistance exercises, reinforces your body's ability to stay strong, energized, and mobile. Over time, these deliberate daily actions transform not only your legs, but your confidence, independence, and overall quality of life. In our next Senior Thrive video, we'll reveal advanced strategies to maintain and even amplify your muscle gains beyond the 30-day plan, including hidden techniques top athletes use, safely adapted for adults over 60. You won't want to miss it if your goal is to continue thriving, staying independent, and moving with strength and confidence well into your 70s and 80s. In our next Senior Thrive video, we'll reveal advanced strategies to maintain and even amplify your muscle gains beyond the 30-day plan, including hidden techniques top athletes use, safely adapted for adults over 60. You won't want to miss it if your goal is to continue thriving, staying independent, and moving with strength and confidence well into your 70s and 80s.